When did you first meet him, and what was that like?
Well, you know what happened. Really, Jack Kent Cooke actually drafted me, and I guess Dr. Buss, they had a deal in place that Jack Kent Cooke, the original Laker owner, had to draft me to make the deal go through. So, so he drafted me, and soon after that, they made the ownership change, and then I met Dr. Buss my second visit to Los Angeles. We sat down, and he laid out his plan and his vision for the Lakers and what he wanted to achieve. And Dr. Buss was just a fun-loving guy. He was very intelligent. He studied history, and he can quote things, but the man was very competitive as well. He wanted to win championships, and he brought all of us in together to do that, and he did an amazing job. And at the same time, he wanted to be friends to the players. And he actually helped the NBA go to another level because he was the first owner who actually cared about making it entertainment, not just a basketball game, but let's have entertainment, focus in on when the timeouts. Let's have Laker girls. Let's do things that we hadn't seen in or had a chance to witness at a basketball game. So he made it an event, and he made it fun. And sure enough, he changed the scope of NBA basketball, and everybody started going to that type of, girls dancing and different entertainment during the timeouts and at halftime. But he was a pioneer. He was at the forefront of all of that.
You mentioned his plan and his vision that he expressed to you in that first meeting. What did he tell you?
Well, he told me, hey, he wants to win a championship, and he wanted to win it now. So he said, I'm here to win championships. I drafted you so that you could play with Kareem, and we had an incredible team with myself and Norm Nixon and Jamal Wilkes and Jim Jones and Spencer Haywood and all the guys. And we went to training camp, and sure enough, our whole mission, that's all we talked about, was winning a championship. But it started with Dr. Buss. And he gave us everything we needed to win a championship. We stayed at the best hotels. We had the best trainers. We had, the best equipment, on and on and on. And so it started with him. And sure enough, we were able to win the championship for Dr. Buss in my first year, his first year. So we were both rookies at the same time. But more than that, he took me in. He knew that I was away from my family. He was a guy who signed with them at that time. I was 19 years old. And he knew that I was close to my father, and so he actually became my second father. And he actually took me in. He took me to my first USC football game. He knew I was a big Trojan fan, watching them in the Rose Bowl for many years in Michigan. He took me to the games. We went every Saturday that they played at home. We went to the game, and we played pool. That was our favorite thing to do. He loved to play pool, and he loved to play cards. So we did both of those things all the time. He took me to Las Vegas. I mean, we hung out. And then last but not least, he taught me the Laker business. And he said, I know you want to be an owner one day. Well, first I got to teach you business first. And so he allowed me to look at the books. He took me through the books. And that's the reason I'm a businessman today, because of Dr. Buss. He allowed me then to buy into the Lakers, and that was probably from first being drafted was my greatest moment, but my second greatest moment was owning the Lakers, and I'm indebted to him. So he is a man that touched so many people's lives, and he allowed me to be one of the Buss boys. And I tell people all the time, Jeannie Buss and I were raised together because she's about the same age as I am, and so we all hung out together. And so it was really great to be a part of the Buss family, and I'm going to still continue his legacy and honor him by just trying to do everything I can to be the best person that I can be on this earth while I'm here, because that's what he wanted. The first call I got when we bought the Dodgers was from Dr. Buss. And I thought he bought the Dodgers. He was so happy for me, you know. It was just a father being proud of his son, you know. And he would always ask me. He said, "Okay, what's your next move? What you gonna do next?" And I saw him a couple months ago. I was so happy to go visit him in the hospital, and we laughed and we talked about everything that happened when I was a rookie and all the way up to now. And so it's a sad day for everybody in Los Angeles because Dr. Buss loved the Lakers. He loved to play poker. He loved his women. I got to say that. But he loved winning for the fans of L.A. And it wasn't for him. It was for the fans of L.A. That man, he would do anything to win championships for the people of L.A. And I hope that this city, and I know the organization will honor him, and I hope the NBA, the league, will honor him, but the city should really pay a lot of respect for Dr. Jerry Buss and what he was able to do for all the fans here.
He was a great fan who happened to own quite a
That's
successful
right.
business. And so sometimes that can be an interesting line to walk. But, I mean, take us back to a year ago when you were purchasing the Dodgers about a year ago. And obviously he was your friend, but he was looking out for you. You mentioned business-wise. What advice, if any, did he give you as you were pondering whether or not you should make that kind of commitment to the Los Angeles Dodgers?
Well, let me tell you, it's funny that you mentioned this. When the Dodgers went up for sale, who was I sitting next to the same night? Dr. Jerry Buss. And I said, "Doc, what do you think?" He said, "Irvin, you should make a run for it." I said, "Are you serious?" He said, "Yeah." And so that's when I decided to make a run for it and didn't know who I was going to go with, but I'm glad I went with the Guggenheim Partners. They've been great partners, Mark Walters, everybody, but we were able to win. But Dr. Buss was with me every step of the way, trying to tell me what to look out for. And he always gave solid advice. And you know, Dr. Buss is a great guy because he would always meet you at the same places, you know, his same Italian restaurant. You know, people don't know this. He was a great dancer, too. We used to go out to the nightclubs and when I was a lot younger and I could dance all night. We used to go to this club called Pips, and he loved to dance, and we would just dance all night. This guy could stay on that dance floor. He could outlast me, and so he was a guy that he was probably a different owner than everybody in a lot of ways. First of all, he was a different owner because he was fun and people had access to him. You know, the fans, he would shake every fan's hand, say hello. And so he was a common guy owner, you know. So, and then he would sit back. Dr. Buss did not do interviews really. He did 2 interviews a year, one before the season, one after the season. And Dr. Buss allowed Jerry West to run the Lakers. He didn't meddle with the business of the Lakers. Then he brought his daughter in, Jeannie, to run the Lakers. But he allowed Jerry West to really make the basketball decisions, and then he would sign off on him. But one thing he was smart at, he said, "Tell me why it's important to draft this guy," or "What will this player do if I trade for him? What will he do for our team?" So he wanted to know why, but then he would sign off on it because he said, "Hey, Jerry, you know basketball." And that's what I loved about Dr. Buss. He would always let the guys who had the expertise make decisions. He didn't micromanage anybody. And that's what made him a great chairman and CEO of the Lakers and owner of the Lakers. And then last but not least, he loved to be around beautiful women. That was his thing, you know. And Dr. Buss lived his life. And I told him, you know, because he said, "Irvin, nobody should really feel sad for me because, you know, as an 80-year-old man, I've had a great life, and I did everything I wanted to do. And then when you think about, here's a guy who grew up dirt poor and have a chance to own the Los Angeles Lakers. Oh man, that was his. He always gave me that line. I grew up poor, and now I own the greatest franchise in all of sports. So he had a great time, and people are sad. I'm sad, but also I think he went out his way, and so I hope to see him again in the next life. But he will always live through me, and I'm going to carry his spirit, his legacy, and I'm going to carry it on until I'm dead and gone.
Magic, I'd like to, if I could, take you back to a really difficult time in November of '91 when you announced to the world that you were HIV positive. You've made it very clear in the past and also in the past couple of minutes that not only was Jerry Buss your boss, but he was your friend. How difficult was it for you to break that news to Jerry Buss, your boss, but also your close friend?
Yeah, well, it was difficult when I went over to his house, and we cried for about 2 hours together, and we would laugh, and then we would cry some more, and then we would laugh, and we would cry some more, and he felt that he didn't know what would happen. He wanted to get the best doctors possible, and I told him, Dr. Ho, I already had the best doctor. He wanted to get me anything I needed at that time. He wanted to provide for me to make sure I was going to be okay. But he felt, I think, like most people, they were losing a son. He didn't know what was going to happen to his son, and so, but once I got going and we made the announcement, and I got on my regiment, taking my meds and doing what I was supposed to do, and I lived 1 year and then 2 years, and then all of a sudden, he stopped asking me how I'm doing because he could see how I was doing, and so he just was there for me every step of the way. And I'd never seen Dr. Buss cry until that moment, and so that showed me that he loved me and cared a lot about me, and also for my well-being. He cared about my well-being, and that's what made Dr. Buss special. I mean, every time I had a high or low moment, he was there for the highs, and he was there for the lows. When that whole Westhead thing broke out, and people thought, I fired him, and Dr. Buss took me away for a weekend, and he said, look, you didn't make the decision. I made the decision to fire Coach Westhead, but I want you to know that any other time you have a problem with somebody, instead of going public with it, just come to me, and then we can take care of it, And so he taught me a valuable lesson at the same time, and so. And I cried on his shoulder because, people were booing me at that time. And so he allowed me to cry on his shoulder. And then he told me, hey, the only way you're going to turn this around, we got to go out here and win. You got to play well, and we got to go win the championship. So let's go do it. And that's what we were able to do. But so I remember that moment, the Westhead moment. I remember announcing HIV and sitting at his house both times and crying on his shoulder both times. And him supporting me all the way. And then last but not least, Dr. Buss took a lot of heat for giving me that $25 million contract. Mm-hmm. And, everybody was up in arms over that, And Dr. Buss called me. I remember like it was yesterday. Again, we went to Dan Tanner's, had a great Italian dinner. And he told me, look, he said, I made this decision, so you don't worry about it. I believe in you. I want to tie you up for a long time because I want us to be together, not just on the basketball court, but also I want you to be a part of the Lakers forever. And sure enough, that's what happened. So again, any tough moment, he would call me up, and guess what? We would go eat Italian dinner and talk about it.
And then you'd go dancing, and then you'd play more card games.
That's what I'm going to take. See, I've been crying all morning. But now I can actually smile because he not only affected my life, but he affected every young man who's ever put on a Laker uniform's life. And kids can smile because the Lakers are great, and I hope that they realize it was because of Dr. Jerry Buss that the Lakers are great, and they're a great organization. Other owners are going to miss him because he was a visionary. See, he was a trailblazer. He did things that was at that time people thought they wasn't cool or that it wasn't proper or whatever. But he was a man who you know, he walked the walk and talked the talk, and then you saw what happened. He produced championships because he was the most competitive owner you're going to ever meet in your life. And that's why all those great players have come through and wore the purple and gold, because Dr. Buss knew when Shaq was going to be a free agent. So he saved up the money and got the cap space and brought Shaq to town, because he said that was his number one thing. I want to bring Shaq to town. And he kept Kobe here and gave him, you know, long-term contract and so on. On and on and on. I can tell you many stories about the man, but there will never be another Dr. Jerry Buss. Nope. Because he was also a celebrity. See, most owners are just owners, right? But he could go and get in to the A-list parties, and I was hanging right with him, too. I was right by his side.
You keep going back to that magic. You keep referring back to the parties and the dinners and the ladies, and you guys had fun.
We had a good time because, look, it was more than player-owner. You know, it was, I was like his son, and if I would tell you every night we stayed up playing pool to 2 or 3, 4 in the morning, I mean, this man loved to play pool, and so we had a good time while we were winning. You know, most times, you know, you don't get to have a good time with the owner, but he was a guy who, again, he wanted to have a good time, he wanted to win, and he did it his way. And so I think that, and he went out his way too, and so that's a blessing. And now he leaves a incredible organization to his kids. And Jeannie Buss is so smart and intelligent. He sent her to USC Business School, and he knew that he wanted her to be a major factor and be a part of the Laker organization and probably run it one day. And so I'm hoping that she's in a position to do that, and the Buss legacy will carry on through the kids. And so I've been blessed. I can stay on this phone for probably all day today and tomorrow and tell you story after story after story. You know, and then I'm going to end with this. The thing that made him proud was that I became a businessman. I gave back to my community, and he was so happy. Anytime he read anything or saw me on TV that had to do with kids, he would call me right away. Great job. Way to go, Irvin. You know, everything that you told me you wanted to do, young man, you are doing it, and I love you for that. And that made me feel good. It may be I was giving out scholarship awards, and he would just call me or text me and tell me, hey, great job, and I'm so proud of you. So I'm happy that I was able to make him proud, and I will continue to try to do that as long as I'm here. And then the other thing that really made me laugh every time, he would tell this story to everybody he would see. He said, I invited Irvin to Donald Sterling, who owns the Clippers, gives an annual beach party. So when I was a rookie and I came, it was a week before we were starting training camp, Dr. Buss took me over to meet Donald Sterling. So I met him. So we're sitting there. And the bartender said, what are you having? I said, cranberry, orange juice, and pineapple juice all mixed together. So as we were in the hospital just a couple months ago talking to him, guess what he remembered? That drink that I always drank. He said, Irvin, I'm so proud of you because I've never seen you take a drink ever in your life. And that's why he said, I love you, because you've always been a man that always took care of your body, did the right things. And so, but he would always tell people that story about me, about not taking a drink. He's never seen me take a drink. And so that's cool. I'm going to remember all those things. So I thank ESPN today because what you've been able to do is shine light on a real hero, a legend. And I got to see him up close and personal and be a part of this empire that he has built. And, again, I may not have the Buss last name, but I feel like I am one, just like the other kids. And so I love that man to death. And thank you for doing what you're doing today for him in his honor.
Magic Johnson, part of 5 Lakers championships, a Hall of Famer. Jerry Buss gave you your shot, and now?
Well, don't leave out now the 5 I won as an owner, so that's 10.
We can't get that math incorrect, can we? I'm talking to one of the most competitive men in sports. I will make sure and say it correctly. 5 as a player, 5 as an owner, and most importantly to you today, it sounds like a self-proclaimed bus boy.
That's right.
Magic Johnson, thank you so much. You're the only one who could have provided this kind of perspective. Thank you.
Thank you.